step 7. We're here on the ERP planning. We're almost there and coming up with the second major output of the ERP planning exercise. In addition to your work plan with all your preparedness actions, you will have, ideally by the end of the workshop with your partners, an ERP plan document, at least a draft. And the goal is here again, similarly to what we just discussed, to have as much as possible the outcome of your planning and thinking being documented in the ERP plan as we go. That's somehow to build in real time your ERP plan. Okay, let me make this bigger. Okay. So at this stage, yes, we are coming to review, consolidate all the planning, the thinking that was done through all those different steps. And maybe it's also a moment where you want to refine the ERP plan that is coming together. You can also start discussing how all those ERP planning elements can be also taken back to or complement other overarching national contingency plan. And that step of fine tuning is also helping identifying if there are any missing elements. You can also explore how to triangulate the outcome of your ERP thinking with other sectors. And again, make sure that you have well integrated key cross-cutting themes. So this is really, again, to share that this is ERP is a continuous process, a looped process, whereby you will always have to make sure that you come back to this plan and that is really up to date, still relevant, actionable, and that as new information comes in, you adjust accordingly. And also, I wanted to share again, or take a moment to hear from any one of you who may have had this experience of having all of a sudden to deal with a large crisis, and all of a sudden you're asked either by OCHA or by government to come up in a very short span of time to come up with your key figures for your response. You have, like, by COB tomorrow, you need to provide to a donor maybe a short paragraph with your main nutrition pin and target and your budget requirement and what are your prioritized action for your response for the next 3 months. I don't know if this speaks to someone. Can I hear an experience of someone who had to deal with such a situation at some point in their career? I mean, this is a situation I faced personally, where despite the fact that you are already dealing with a few pressing issues, all of a sudden there is an additional crisis coming on top of everything else. And all of a sudden you have to come up with, I don't know, maybe a flood response plan in the span of a very short time frame, because this is for a surf allocation, a concept note that is going to be needed by a donor like right away. The point I want to make here is that if you have built this ERP plan, that you already have your key figures, your immediate response design, your budget requirements, it's easy, much easier to adjust quickly with new parameters coming in an existing rough plan than starting from scratch. And also, if you have discussed all this with your partners ahead before, you don't have to lose time deciding, oh, how are we going to estimate our PIN? What methodology am I going to use? Or if you have discussed before how you cost your response, you gain so much time. Okay, so this is why I really want to insist here on how useful having this ERP plan, including key figures and the immediate response plan is really important. So in the package, in the workshop package for country level, we have for this session 2 group work exercises, whereby it's a way for you to finalize your ERP plan collectively. So we will not do those 2 exercises now, maybe just one, but not those 2. It's just for, you can task a group that would finalize the key figures, if needed, the PIN, the target, the funding requirement. Have another group of your partners making sure that everything is being done for, the planning, the operational arrangements. Take the time, maybe using some of the group work tools used for step 4 or others, and also start making sure that we have everything documented in the ERP plan template. So here again, you have different ways to capture all this wealth of planning information. It's either you have it in the Word document that is a template derived from a YASC template, where we again tweak a little bit the YASC or the OCHA template for ERP plan, just so that it reflects our step, the proposed 8 steps, and have them some highlights in each section of the plan. And then again, something that we think would be really useful is that you could also move some of the highlights or use the online Kobo form to build your ERP dashboard. Okay, so these online forms, I'm going to put the link again here in the chat box. And we are going to take a few minutes. All of us, I would like all of us to start playing with those tools online. And I guess many of you know about those Kobo tools because we use them already for media reporting, for instance. I hope that everybody is done with their media report, by the way. So it's tools that are meant to be easy to use, user-friendly. So, and there are a lot of drop-down menu. So we're going to split into groups, and some groups you'll be scrolling down and going to Zwantipolis. Group 1 will work on Zwantipolis Province A, Group 2 on Zwantipolis Province B, Group 3 Zwantipolis Province C, and Group 4 you can choose a country of your choice. It's just for the sake of exercising ourselves with the tools, okay? So you may want to choose your country, and then you play around, okay? So you may bring some information we have in the draft ERP plan and populate the boxes, okay? And it's just for you to start playing with it, appreciating all how it supports the ERP planning. And we take just a few minutes for that, okay? So for that group exercise, again, I really recommend that it's a participant within your groups. It's a participant, not a co-facilitator, a participant that share his or her screen and start playing with the tool. Okay. So yeah, I hope this is clear for everyone. And so I'm gonna split you into different rooms. Let me allocate just 10 minutes for this short exercise, okay? Just to familiarize yourself with the online tool. See you in a few minutes. Okay, colleagues, welcome
Cecily
back.
is saying you just need to appreciate.
Yeah, exactly. I think what I would like to encourage you colleagues is that once you are doing your ERP with your partners, try as much as possible, sorry, to use those COBOL forms. I mean, it's going to be a very useful tool, I believe, to capture documents, highlights of your ERP plan and showcase then. Because you see, once you can build that little by little. So of course, you may need to work on a Word document. That will always be required and needed for OCHA, for your government counterpart. But then, since we are keeping things simple as much as possible, you just then copy paste some highlights into the COBOL form. And you see at the very end of it, if you go to the end, you click here and you save your work as a draft. So you can come back to it, you know, from time to time when you're still drafting your ERP plan. And once you're done, having populated each and every box, or as much as the boxes you could, you click submit, and then it brings you, no, sorry, why? And then it brings you to the dashboard. The ERP, your ERP dashboard will be automatically generated online here. So this is a draft that we have now for Zwantipolis, but the GNC has as an indicator, we are reporting as GNC as an indicator that by 2023 or 2025, we will have 70% of priority countries with an ERP dashboard like this online. So we have currently only one country with an ERP dashboard on the GNC website. It's Myanmar, who was one of the countries with whom we piloted this last year. And we've since then enhanced and optimized a little bit everything and make sure that the dashboard aligns with the step-by-step ERP planning. Okay, so we are tweaking a few things together with Shabib and Magnat, the IM specialists. And soon this is going to be available, and you have a drop-down menu. Every country in the world can have these dashboards generated, okay? There was an interesting observation from Brooke that I want to talk about a little bit. When we are working, I don't know if you noticed, when we are working on our, oops, where am I? When we are working on our online forms, the COBOL forms, you'll realize that sometimes when you type a long sentence in a box, you don't really see the text anymore. So I'll try to discuss this with Magnat and Shabib to see if we can have an option to see the text being wrapped so that you see everything. Otherwise, what I've done when I tried to play with this for Zwantipolis is that I copy paste. So simply, I take the full sentence that is in the Word document of the ERP plan, and I copy paste in the box, and that's it. Okay. Okay. Where can we find the dashboard? So the Myanmar one is here. I'm going to share the link. The Myanmar one is here. It's an old version of the ERP plan dashboard. Together with Magnat, we are working on making it now aligned to the step-by-step guide, and soon we'll have this online. Okay.
Thanks, Cecile. So where is that on the website? Just, I see the link, but where can I find that from the homepage? Do you know?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm always using that link, maybe Magnat. So we are next week. Next week, I will be uploading all the ERP toolkit on the GNC website. So we are going to create, it's under discussion, a place on the website where we put the ERP tools so that it's easier for the colleagues in the field and countries to identify where are the ERP tools. Okay. So it's coming in the matter of few days, next week. It will be easier to navigate. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any remarks? Any reflections at this stage, colleagues? I see some of you are already reacting, sharing that this is going to be useful for them. I hope it will be useful. I think it's a very, very visual way to capture all your planning. I think it's an interesting tool. And we're going to come to that a little bit now. I mean, in the next session when we discuss what do we do now that we've developed an ERP plan and we have an ERP dashboard and a work plan for our preparedness actions. I think this is something that is going to be very useful for you when you talk to donors, when you have your pitch for mobilizing resources, to have your pitch being backed up by a way to demonstrate all your efforts in preparing to respond to the next crisis, and it's giving you, it's building your higher level of preparedness. It's giving you a more solid way to have actionable plan, and it's going to help you mobilize accordingly for it, I believe. Okay. We are a little bit early, but that's good. We have a bit of time for more questions and remarks at this stage, if any. Or do we have more? Magnat, yes, you want to come in?
Yes, thank you, Cecile. I just want to share, I just shared the link in the chat. So this is, it goes directly to the dashboard. Again, this is a draft, as Cecile mentioned, and for sure next week, this will be finalized. And as soon as you submit your input, so you can still automatically the information updated on the dashboard. Thank you.
Thank you, Magnat. And from the ERP workshop #1 we did last month, some countries asked whether a dashboard can be updated. If country colleagues, they click on submit here in the Kobo form, they generate their dashboard, and let's say 2 weeks later, they realize that they want to add more information or updates. How can they do that?
Yeah, for this one, maybe I can discuss with Shabib what will be the best strategy. So we can come back to colleagues with like something which is clear, so we know how we can proceed. But
thank you.
The first, like when they submit the input, so we are trying to make it automatic, so the dashboard can refresh directly. But for the updates, we'll think with Shabib and see like the best approach that we can take. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. And
Cecily,
yes.
just a quick comment. I think there should be a function of updating the dashboard, and so that the countries can go there in case there is some update. Then they click there and make some update, and then they save and they keep it that way. So maybe just to suggest it to Magnet and Shabib. Over.
Yeah. Thank you, Isaac. Definitely, this is a functionality we will have to add. And Magnet is saying that they will work together with Shabib on exploring this functionality. And then, so I just wanted to also mention that you'll see in the drop-down menu, you have at various steps of the planning process, you'll find ways to also work for the subnational level. Okay, there are ways where you can be very specific in defining whether you're working for instance, if you're defining a scenario for a specific province and you're estimating your key figures for that very province with a pin and just for that province, you can specify it in the forms. You can add more different rows here to have, maybe you have 3 provinces for which you're doing the planning. But if you want, there are also some countries, very large countries, who have directly provinces in the drop-down menu, like we did for Zwantipolis. You see, we have disaggregated here in the first drop-down menu. I know that, for instance, colleagues from DRC also wanted to have province-specific ERP dashboard. So we have made them available in the drop-down menu. Flag it if for your country you want a specific province already to be in the drop-down menu from the very beginning of this form. Let us know. Magnet and Shabib can fix that. Okay. Good. Okay. So I think we're done with this, and we are now gonna. Yes, there is a question from Roland.